Next on Worcester News tonight, public transportation getting more expensive today. Area leaders voicing their concern about fare hikes at the MBTA. Plus, Worcester's pools, spray parks, and beaches are officially open for the season. City leaders are taking steps to keep more swimmers safe. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. First, we're checking the weather. It was a beautiful day to start the holiday week, and if you're on vacation for the 4th of July, it looks like you're in luck. Let's get a first look at our local forecast for more.
Hey there, good evening. I'm meteorologist Pamela Gardner. We have some warm temperatures for the rest of this evening. If you're heading out for dinner, no need to take the umbrella with you. We keep it dry. A few clouds through 7 o'clock through 9 o'clock, still comfortable, down to 69 degrees. And mild air still right before midnight, 11 o'clock, 68 degrees, but increasing clouds. And those clouds helping to trap in some of that daytime heat. So we're not going to drop too far into the mid and upper 60s for lows across Worcester County, 71 degrees in Boston, even across the Cape and the islands, mid to upper 60s. Tomorrow afternoon, the heat is on just a little bit more, still low with the humidity, but the wind dominant from the west. And that's what's going to increase our temps into the mid and upper 80s, with areas along the coastline also experiencing 80s for highs. More heat on the way the next several days, and we become more humid from midweek. Wednesday into Thursday, the 4th of July, there's a chance for a pop-up shower, but very, very, very rare. Most of us will stay dry for the holiday. I'll show you the hour-by-hour timing of what to expect in your exclusive 10-day forecast.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Pamela. MBTA fare hikes went into effect today despite pushback following recent issues on the rails. The hike will not change bus fares, but many commuters are affected. State Representative David LaBeouf says fares have increased 41% since 2012. Our Chandler Walsh has more on what riders need to know.
Commuter rail riders are hit with an average 6% fare increase Monday. State Representative David LaBeouf among the elected officials who organized at stations throughout the MBTA to take a stance against the hikes.
We need to make sure that we are not going to basically raise the fares on the backs of working class people, and that's what we're fighting for here. And that's why we're bringing municipal officials together.
Christina Drum takes the commuter rail from Union Station to her job in Boston's Back Bay nearly every day. She says the increases don't seem fair.
I'm actually thinking on carpooling or taking the bus.
Riders in Union Station's Zone 8 now have to pay an extra 75 cents for a one-way fare and an extra $25 for a monthly pass. Drum says with train derailments and constant delays, commutes are already frustrating.
When you go to work, you want to be comfortable. You don't want to be anxiety-ridden before you walk in the door, and not the fact that they're raising prices. They should be cleaning up the train.
The MBTA says the hikes will generate an extra $30 million in revenue to make upgrades to the system. Worcester at-large councilor Christian King says the city needs reliable transportation and access to Boston as it grows and develops.
Where the gap is that local voices have not been heard. We've been informed of the process, but we haven't been part of the process.
LaBeouf says Zone 8 riders are paying a greater share than riders in other areas. He says Central Massachusetts is an economic engine for the state he feels the MBTA ignored.
This isn't a leisure rail. This is something that is really about economic development, and our region is being left behind because of this.
Representative LaBeouf signed a letter asking Governor Charlie Baker to freeze the fare hikes. He says he hopes the protests and calls to action help and push the MBTA to make improvements to the system. In Worcester, Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
A 2-year-old is recovering after falling from a second-floor window in Worcester. Police say the child fell about 20 feet from the window of this home on Henchman Street Sunday afternoon. Police say the injuries are not considered life-threatening and there are no charges against the parents at this time.
Innocent child gets hurt, it's always a tragedy, and thankfully in this case it wasn't fatal. Obviously if a child falls that far and lands on a stone wall or lands in an awkward way, it could be a broken neck, it could be all kinds of terrible things. So we're very thankful anytime that doesn't happen.
The child is expected to make a full recovery. Auburn police are looking for a suspect or suspects they say hit 2 homes with Molotov cocktails early Sunday morning. The homes on North Oxford Road and Burnett Road had minor damage. The chief says they are fortunate neither of the incidents led to a structure fire. He says someone could have been injured or killed. Police recovered evidence from the scene. If found, the suspects could face charges of attempting to commit arson. If you're looking for a way to escape the summer heat, Worcester has officially opened its pool, spray parks, and beaches. The city is also talking swimming safety. They're warning parents to keep an eye on their kids while near the water, and they want to prevent any tragedies from happening. Our Roslyn Flaherty is live at Crompton Park with more. Roslyn.
Olivia, they are offering free swimming lessons this summer because they say kids should know how to swim regardless of whether or not they can afford it. In the last 10 years, there have been 11 drowning deaths in Worcester. The tragedies are why the city is offering free swimming lessons this summer.
We want to have a summer with not one drowning death.
Monday, the city opened its pools, spray parks, and beaches. City manager Ed Augustus says kids should know how to swim regardless of whether families can pay for lessons. A check from Bank of America will support the opportunity for 350 kids.
That's that many more kids who will know what to do if they find themselves in a situation where they're in a body of water. They'll hopefully have the skills to keep themselves safe.
According to the CDC, drowning is the leading cause of death for children under 5. Worcester Fire Chief Mike Lavoie says lakes and ponds have drop-offs which can be extremely dangerous, and sometimes when the fire department arrives to a scene, it's too late.
Sometimes it takes people a long time to figure out that they are missing and make the call. And sometimes it takes a long time for our divers to reach the person.
The head lifeguard at Crompton Park Pool says the lessons will start off with the basics like floating and blowing bubbles. He says the biggest thing is getting people comfortable around water.
Safety in, on, and around the water is just such a crucial part to growing up.
Lifeguards will be on duty across the city until 7 p.m. They urge people not to go swimming after they leave. Live in Worcester, Roslyn Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
Although the city just opened a beach there today, Worcester's Indian Lake will be closed Tuesday for algae treatment. The city says copper sulfate is being added to control the growth of harmful toxin-producing algae. They say it's a safe and effective way to control it. Residents are asked to stay out of water and keep pets out. People should also not boat or fish on Tuesday. The lake should be open by Wednesday. Police in Auburn spent the morning chasing after a black bear. Members of the state environmental police also took part in the search. Police sharing these pictures of the bear spotted near Bryn Mawr Avenue. It was eventually tranquilized. The bear will be relocated to an undisclosed wooded area in the state. More on a story we first reported last week. Concern is building among business owners in Worcester's Canal District. Some are worried once construction begins on the new baseball park, their bottom line will suffer. Alicia Palumbo has more.
Worcester's Canal District is booming, especially with more retail and residential development by the month, and the Worcester Red Sox Polar Park about to break ground. But the Canal District is also trying not to become a victim of its own success.
With the success with the neighborhood, parking's become more and more of a problem.
In fact, in her monthly Worcester Business Journal column, The Struggle is Real, the Queen's Cups bakery owner Renee Diaz wrote that the construction, woosocks, and regulation are killing Canal District dreams, saying it makes her wonder if hers and other small businesses here will survive the next 5 years.
We all welcome the Wall Park. We all are convinced that in 2 years, the state of affairs around here is going to be terrific. What we're worried about now is how to get from now to then.
Some developers Alan Fletcher and Edward Murphy have teamed up with Crompton Place owner Dino LaRusso to try to tackle that problem head on.
We originally had parking for 200 vehicles over the Ash Street, but that's exactly where the ballpark's going to be built.
So they got the idea for a shuttle service, got it sponsored by Cornerstone Bank, and purchased 4 lots on the south side of Kelly Square that they're already transforming into parking lots for about 250 cars.
It's expensive, but with the 3 of us, it's not too bad.
They're hoping the shuttle will eventually run daily, morning to night, with hours expanding as more businesses join in.
If we can get the neighborhood to chip in monthly, and then we'll run it more hours, and everyone can enjoy it.
Polar Park is scheduled to break ground later this month. The Canal District shuttle service is scheduled to start on August 1st and is free to customers. In Worcester, Alicia Palumbo, Worcester News Tonight.
An almost 100-year-old mural is getting new life. A volunteer is spending time at Stearns Tavern restoring the painting. The artist says some of the paint was so unstable she knew she needed to get the work done right away. Brittany Schaefer joins us now with more on the artist's work. Brittany.
Olivia, the mural spans across 4 walls and dates back to 1927. The artist has already cleaned the piece, which took hours, and now she needs to paint over the damaged sections. As construction wraps up at Stearns Tavern, an expert is helping with an important final touch.
We wanted to make sure this mural was restored as best as possible, and we have that person on board.
The mural, painted in 1927, illustrates the Revolutionary War and American independence. Birgit Strela has already spent more than 40 hours on the project. She says it's a complicated job.
It will enhance the quality. So I will focus on the losses with a tiny brush. And of course you can't buy all the matching colors in a store. So I have to mix colors that they imitate the surrounding original paint.
The panorama showcases scenes of Paul Revere, guerrilla warfare, and the British Redcoats. Strela says it's important to preserve history and artwork for hopefully thousands to enjoy.
It's a different medium to show history because people, especially young people, they always complain that they have to read so much, and then maybe you come to this room and you're standing in the middle of the image, so you maybe have a closer idea what it is to be in the war, and I think it makes an impression not only on kids, probably on me too.
It tells a story about Worcester, Massachusetts, and what was happening. So we wanted to make sure that that was recreated as best as possible. This is going to be a key component of this operation here.
The 1812 Tavern moved to its current location by Coase Pond in 2016. Strela says working on the mural around the 4th of July is a great way to celebrate America's independence.
The 4th of July will be a perfect day for me to spend again with the revolution, because I will be here probably in the morning, and hopefully we have wonderful weather, and I will do more retouching here.
Strela isn't sure how much longer the restoration will take, but says it's exciting watching the history and art come alive.